Hello there. Welcome to the second season of the One Question podcast. If you're watching this on YouTube, you definitely know that this is different from our usual podcast or my usual podcast. The first season of the One Question podcast was just to be a podcast where I get to ask people um, where I get to ask some smart people just one question. And usually they answer it within, 10 minutes to 20 minutes. So it's a very short form of podcast. And that worked for a while because I was able to explore different kinds of topics. We talked about businesses, project management, um, careers, dating, books. And I was able to do that for the first 10 episodes. And after that, I took a break because I needed it. And now that I'm starting again, I'm thinking of pivoting to doing it a different way. This is going to be done in different ways. First of all, there's going to be the video version where if you are more used to the video, to watching video, you could, watch it on YouTube. And if you're still the auditory kind of person, you could, listen to it on your favorite podcast. It could be on Spotify or Apple or wherever you listen to your podcast. So another thing that's going to be different is the fact that I won't always have guests. Okay, hear me out. The One Question podcast was about asking smart people smart questions, but it was more about the question, right? It was more about getting answers to those questions. And I discovered that sometimes I actually find out these answers for myself you know, before I bring on guests. Sometimes I go on Google and I just, Google some things out and I'm like, oh yeah, that's how it works. Or you read a book, or sometimes, the wisdom just comes somehow and you're like, oh yeah, I figured that out. So I'm gonna be doing that. I'm gonna be like exploring different ways to answering these questions because it's more about the questions, it's less about me or the guests, it's more about getting answers to those questions. You could argue that I'm doing this because I'm lazy, and you'll be right. But I also think this could work. So I hope you stick along and we get to find answers to different questions. And it's not just going to be me asking these questions either. I want, um, just in case you listening to these and you have a question that you think I could answer or a guest on my show could answer, please leave it in the comments. You could do that by going to the Anchor channel of this podcast and just leave a comment there. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, you could also leave a comment below, and I'm going to be reading the comments and then looking for the best questions and then either bring a guest on to answer it if I don't have the answer, or if I've read a book that covers that. I'm just going to be sharing my opinion as well, like of what I think, uh, you know, of war. I think the answer is I may get it right, I may not get it right, but the most important thing is that the question will be answered. I promise you that. So, for this first episode of this 2.0 version of the One Question podcast, I'm going to be talking about pivoting because, I just did the same damn thing. So, I'm going to be bringing someone who has experience with pivoting because I feel like that's what he's done almost all his whole life. So, um, his name is Jinka Adewale and he's the CEO of Kudi.com. Wait a minute, I'll be right back.